The story begins in the rugged, remote mountains of Scotland, where a group of climbers faces the steep challenge of one of the region's towering cliffs. Rob leads the climb, assuring the others that the section above is safe. Just below him are Allison and Ed, who take a short break. Ed snaps a photo of Allison and then asks her to return the favor. As they get distracted watching a golden eagle soaring through the sky, Rob continues pulling up the ropes from the top. Suddenly, one of the ropes gets tangled around Ed's leg, yanking both him and Allison off the rock face, leaving them hanging, suspended only by their gear. Ed panics, fearing he'll fall, while Allison tries to calm him, though her words don't help much. Rob quickly climbs down to help, and after stabilizing the two shaken climbers, they safely continue the ascent. Once they reach the top, they stop to catch their breath and recover. Ed keeps complaining, but Rob tells him it's just adrenaline. Still rattled, Allison warns Ed that if he wants to keep climbing with her, he needs to stop getting distracted. Eventually, they reunite with two more expedition members, a couple named Alex and Jenny. Inside the mountain cabin, Ed tries to make a phone call, but there's no signal. While Allison takes a shower, she's haunted by flashes of the fall. That night, the group holds a small get-together with drinks and music. Suddenly, Ed is spooked by a noise coming from outside, and he looks out at the mountains now cloaked in mist. The next day, the group prepares for another hike. Rob talks about the weather, and Allison reminds him to avoid the west side of the mountain. The group takes a snack break in the forest. Ed steps away to relieve himself, but hears strange voices nearby. Alarmed, he rushes back to warn the group, though no one takes him seriously at first. Allison decides to investigate with him. As they quietly listen, she hears the voices too, possibly a person. She calls the rest of the group over. Everyone hears it now. Following the sound, they stumble upon a breathing tube sticking out of the ground. Rob realizes someone is down there. As he rushes to get his pack, Allison calls out, and a frightened little girl responds in a language they don't understand. Rob returns with shovels and begins digging alongside Ed while Alex stands ready with a stick, bracing for danger. They uncover a wooden hatch and, to their shock, find a young girl trapped inside. Rob tries to calm her, but she bites his hand. Jenny climbs down to reassure the girl, who finally lets her guard down. They lift her out and give her water. When asked her name, she mumbles Anna. The group speculates she might be Croatian, but Ed admits he only knows some bad words in that language. Allison observes that whoever locked the girl up clearly didn't want her to die. Worried, Alex urges the group to leave before whoever did this returns. But Jenny insists the girl is now their responsibility. They must help her. Rob opens the map, showing the nearest village is about 23 miles away. Alex suggests calling for help, but Rob reminds them there's no cell service until they reach the village. He adds there's a shortcut, a place called Devil's Perch, just 3 kilometers away, which leads down a vertical 150-meter cliff. After that, it's only 6 kilometers to the village. Alex is skeptical. How could they bring a child down such a steep drop? Rob says only 2 of them will rappel down to get help. He chooses Allison to go with him. Although shaken by their previous fall, she agrees. They reach the cliff and prepare to descend. Rob asks Allison to go first. She hesitates but starts. Halfway down, she warns she's running out of rope. Rob encourages her to push on. She descends nervously and safely lands. As Rob begins his descent, tragedy strikes, his rope snaps, and he plummets to the rocks below. Allison stares in horror from the top, frozen at the sight of Rob's motionless body. Meanwhile, the others continue through the forest. Back at the cliff, Allison attempts to climb down without any rope, a near impossible task. A falling rock nearly hits her, followed by another that knocks her down. She crashes through tree branches and lands in a river. Dazed and in pain, she swims to the riverbank and finds Rob's lifeless body. She rests briefly, then has a terrifying dream of being trapped in a place like the one where they found Anna. Screaming through a breathing tube, she wakes up disoriented. Realizing something isn't right, she checks Rob's body and discovers the rope had been cut. It wasn't an accident. At the same time, 2 men appear on a nearby cliff, watching the group from afar. One of them wants to shoot, but the other says it's too risky. Allison begins running through the forest, now certain someone is hunting them. Elsewhere, 2 mysterious men confront the original kidnappers, criticizing them for using weapons meant for more than hunting. When one of the kidnappers mocks them, he's stabbed to death. The other is forced to jump off a cliff. The newcomers steal their weapons. We then meet a trio in a car, Andy, Darko, and a third unnamed man. They're not killers, but were hired by Anna's father to find her. They're heading toward the same village. Allison, now desperate, finally catches sight of her group again and tries to warn them, but the roar of the river drowns out her cries for help. Allison, unable to shout over the sound of the roaring river, gestures to the others to meet her at the river crossing. Ed sees her signal and understands. He asks about Rob, but with a sad look, Allison simply makes a hand gesture, enough for everyone to realize what happened. As the camera focuses on the little girl, Anna, we see her face smeared with blood. Suddenly, Jenny is shot and falls into the river, pulling the child in with her. The current sweeps Anna away. Chaos erupts. Alex and Ed climb to higher ground as the two kidnappers on the opposite side open fire. Everyone runs for their lives. Ed and Alex press on, but Allison is still across the river. One of the kidnappers takes aim and shoots Allison, hitting her and sending her into the water. Ed shouts her name, nearly getting hit himself, but there's no time to stop. Gunfire continues to rain down. In the water, Allison drops her backpack and swims toward Anna. They're pulled down a waterfall, and in the chaos, she loses sight of the girl, finds Anna, and pulls her to the riverbank. The girl is unconscious but still alive. Allison quickly performs CPR, and after tense moments, Anna wakes up. Just then, the kidnappers draw near and open fire, missing their targets. One of the other men signals Allison to flee while they reload. Anna runs first and hides behind rocks. Allison reunites with Alex and calls out for Ed and Anna, but hears no reply. Hiding behind the rocks, Anna sees one of the men approach, but Ed appears and covers her mouth, urging silence. As he quietly sneaks away with her, a bird suddenly flutters nearby, giving away their position. Gunshots ring out. Ed runs, carrying Anna through the trees, dodging bullets. They tumble down a slope. Ed hits the ground hard, colliding with a log and injuring his leg. Soon, they regroup with Allison and Alex. From a distance, they see the killers approaching. Allison urges them to run, but Alex realizes Ed can't move fast. He calmly says the men only want Anna. Then, in a bold move, Alex takes some of Anna's clothing and walks out of hiding to draw the attackers away. The men quickly open fire, hitting him in the leg. But Alex, driven by sheer will, rises again. More bullets hit him. As he crawls across the ground, flashbacks of Jenny flood his mind. A final shot ends his life. Elsewhere, we see the trio in a car, Andy, Darko, and an unnamed third man, who have also been tracking Anna. Ed, struggling through the pain, limps down the cliffside and, with great difficulty, makes it to the bottom. Anna, terrified, refuses to descend, but Allison convinces her that it's the only way. She climbs down and joins Ed. Then, Allison follows. Once on the ground, Ed tells them they need to keep moving. But with his injured leg, he says he'll only slow them down and decides to stay behind. Ed begins to echo Alex's earlier doubts, wondering if they made a mistake trying to save the girl. What if the police won't come now? What if she dies and they're blamed? But Allison stares at him and asks, "Would you really leave her here to die?" Ed quietly replies, "No." Meanwhile, the kidnappers discuss a previous victim they lost in winter. They talk about pressuring Anna's family for ransom and agree to do things their own way. At the same time, Andy and his team intercept a message from the kidnappers. We discover they're bounty hunters, hired by Anna's father. Andy warns Darko that these men are dangerous. Darko replies that they must bring the girl back and reminds him who her father is, a brutal Serbian mercenary with a fearsome reputation. They begin planning how to capture the kidnappers without harming the girl. As Allison, Ed, and Anna leave the forest, they spot a car, but it speeds past them. Later that night, they finally reach a small town where a festival is taking place. They head straight to the local police station. Coincidentally, the bounty hunters are also nearby, preparing for their meeting with the kidnappers. Inside the station, the officer tells them they'll need to give statements and will be taken for medical care. He steps out to make a call, but returns saying he couldn't reach anyone. Ed grows suspicious. He demands the officer try again, but the man insists he already did. Meanwhile, at a local bar, Darko meets with one of the kidnappers. The man demands money first. Darko refuses, insisting on seeing the girl before any payment. The kidnapper tells a chilling story of how a previous family tried to trick them, with fake money wrapped in newspapers. He killed their son. Darko, unfazed, refuses to back down. Back at the station, Ed becomes more suspicious and tells Allison that the officer might be stalling for time, waiting for the kidnappers to arrive. Allison wants to wait, but Ed doesn't want to risk it. As they prepare to leave, the officer blocks the door and says they can only go if they leave the girl behind. Ed pulls out a knife in defense. Tension peaks. A sudden gunshot breaks the silence. Fireworks from the festival explode outside, masking the chaos inside. The shooter, hidden in a nearby building, takes out the station's lights. Ed asks for a back exit. Ed grabs the keys and leads the girls through the station, crawling to safety. They escape through the back and disappear into the festival crowd. The shooter blends in, donning a pig mask. In the bar, Darko's negotiation intensifies. When he learns they don't have the girl, he smashes a glass into the kidnapper's face and a fight erupts. They crash through the window just as Andy arrives, guns drawn. But the man escapes with the ransom money. Andy rushes to his wounded partner, who asks him for a gun to end his pain. Meanwhile, Allison and Anna knock on several doors, desperately searching for help, but no one answers. One of the kidnappers closes in. Finally, a man opens his door and lets them in, but he's quickly killed by the intruder. Allison tries to break the back door, but it's locked. A fire begins to spread through the house. As the kidnapper closes in, Allison throws objects to slow him down. They struggle violently. Anna hurls a cup to distract him. Allison is overpowered, but Anna tries to flee, only to find the door locked. Allison smashes another object into his face and escapes. The two run into another room and lock the door. Anna hides under the bed while the house continues burning. The man finds them. Allison and the attacker clash once more. She's thrown to the floor, unconscious. The kidnapper lifts the bed, staring directly at Anna. But just in time, Allison regains consciousness and smashes a jar into his skull. With all her strength, she shoves him out of the second-story window, killing him. Allison throws Anna out the window to save her, but she's too injured to escape herself. She passes out from the smoke. Thankfully, firefighters arrive, rescue Anna, and rush Allison to the hospital. As for the last remaining kidnapper, he tries to escape in a car, but a phone rings inside. Andy ambushes him, drags him out, and beats him to a pulp. Darko silently watches, then walks away. Later, Andy delivers the kidnapper to Anna's father. The man tries to bargain, but the mercenary orders his guards to kill him. No mercy, no discussion. He thanks Andy for rescuing his daughter. Inside the ambulance, Allison holds Anna's hand as they head to the hospital. Tears roll down her face as she recalls everything they endured, the pain, the sacrifices, the loss. And with that, the story ends. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.